In week 4, we looked at land partitioning systems, and I really focused, the map skill this week was focusing on township range and section, or PLSS, or the rectangular grid section. They're all the same name for that process of dividing up the land. And I have posted some small scale practice materials, so let me just show you what that would look like. So you'll be able, this is a section of the 5th Meridian, Iowa, and so these are the township and range sections in township and range grid in Iowa with the section numbers, so there's some practice here. And then some practice doing the subdivisions in as if this were the Willamette Meridian in Oregon, and kind of going through how to write those answers. So that will be on the exam as well. Looking at the topographic map, and again you can open up the topographic map for the Eugene East topographic map, and if you notice on these maps, the township range and section information is in red, as are highways and other divisions, which make it a little bit tricky. But I'm going to zoom over here to that side of the map, and you'll see that there's a dashed red line. So Township 17 South is all of the information above that line until I get to Township 16 South. And below that line is the Township 18 South. So that shows that increment. And if I go down this map, I don't run into Township 19 South on this map. So the ranges, I'm going to go over here. Here is the division for range 4 west and the range 3 west. And again, that is also up at the top of the map. And this is a dotted line or a dashed line that tends to get covered up sometimes by road lines. So on a map like this, it gets really tricky to see these sections. If I were looking at the Coburg Hills, I'm going to zoom out just a bit here. Let's see, yeah, you can still read that. So this grid here is section 2. Here's section 1. I can see section 3 over at the side of the map. So I'm going to start by identifying my section. This is section 2. And then I need to scroll down and find out which township it's in. And it is in Township 17 South. And then I'm going to scroll across the map to find out which range it's in. And it is on the right side of that dotted line, so it's in range 3. So the location for this section, or the identification, would be section 2, Township 17 South, range 3 west, and you'd have to put the Willamette Meridian, and I will always give you which meridian because it's not on the topographic map. Again, one of those things that they assume that you know. If I wanted to identify the location of Spores Point, it would be section 3, Township 17 South, range 3 west. If I wanted to identify the quarter section, I could mentally divide this in half, east-west, and divide it in half north-south, and Spores Point would be in the southwest 1/4, section 3, Township 17 South, range 3 west. So that would be the identification. And I could even get smaller. I could give you the quarter section. So if I were to divide this quarter into quarters, I might say that Spores Point is in the southeast quarter of the southwest quarter of section 3, Township 17 South, range 3 west of the Willamette Meridian. When you get into areas that are closer to town, it gets more difficult on this particular map. So here's section 78, section 42, section 55. These had all been land parcels that were owned before the township and range grid system imprinted on the land, and you can look at the video that talks about that a little bit more. But these lines are a little more difficult to identify. I think section 42 runs like this, but I don't see where it divides between section 55. So it gets a little more difficult on the map when you get these really older parcels. I think Autzen, it's really hard to find. It's section 65, township 17 south, I think. I haven't looked over at the edge to see if it's still there, but I think we're still at 17 south. Let's take a look. Yeah, still at 17 south and range 3 west and the Willamette Meridian, but I can't tell. I can kind of see, yeah, these section lines get really, really tricky when you get in the inner city that's been has prior ownership.